Hello, fellow authors. Amazon ad negatives get pretty hard to manage over time, so I wanted to show a utility that I'm putting together to help with that. It's specifically the sponsored product negatives, and it lists out the different ASIN negatives and the different keyword negatives and gives you an opportunity to weigh in on whether they should be added or removed. And then it remembers what choices you've made and shows you over time, what's changed. Do you want to make any changes? So right now I'm going to sorry, hide the unchanged data. And you can see that I'm up to date. Like all of my decisions match what I have entered into the database, and that means they're being applied to all of my Amazon ad campaigns the way that I want. That was for my Guardian League series. I have not yet done the same thing for the Thaumatropic Root series. This one's urban fantasy, this one's epic fantasy. They have different things that they want to pair up with and should negate, so I have to go back through that again. I thought I'd walk through some of that here live, but I also wanted to show what else this was capable of. So I have a section for social media where I can generate posts based on the books that I have. I had one that I was just working on, a reel for character spotlight of a lesser known character. It's pretty interesting the way I've got this hooked up. I've got all of my books ingested so that I can do queries on them and it will pull out specific characters and quotes and whatever you want out of it. And then I can monitor the metrics of all those things over time. So I can look at for the given posts, what things have done well, and I can look at it in different ways, what kind of platforms are doing well, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, what kind of posts are doing well, what my trend is over time. And then I have a section on advertising. So that's where we were before. This is on creating Facebook ads. So I have a section where you can generate drafts. I was just working on one for Guardian League. This is for one of the characters, a dwarf thief that's in the story. And yeah, you can actually push this stuff out to Meta and it connects up the Amazon attributions automatically so that you don't have to go and fish through all of the pieces to generate them, which is pretty nice. I've built up this image library where it knows what things it can choose from to make the posts. And it's not just an image, it's the metadata that goes with that image. So it knows what characters are in the picture, what kind of picture it is, and it can combine those pieces together to make a better ad. And it will suggest if you need to perhaps generate a new picture. And then this is what we were looking at, the ad negatives. We'll get back to that in a second. And here's where I can chart my Amazon attribution data over time. So I can see which things are actually getting clicks and sales, KNP, and I can do it without having to jump over to Amazon. Then I have my own analytics where I can look over time how my ROAS is doing, what I'm spending on. Like I just did a book release, so I had a bigger launch cost that week. I had bigger sales, but it didn't catch up with the launch cost. So you can see I actually went under that week. So it's just interesting data to be able to watch over time. And I set something up to be able to monitor how the KDP network itself is running so that you can go see, hey, I'm seeing weird stuff. Is anybody else? And yeah, you can go see, yeah, right now there is some other people expressing problems with KDP. And in this tool I mentioned before, the where I've got all my books uploaded and I can go query whichever books I want. If I wanted to just be Guardian League or if I wanted it just to be the first book of Guardian League, I can go ask questions about that book. All right, so jumping back to negatives, it is showing me all of my negatives, the last decision that I made, like remove from negatives, and then the recommendation that it's making. So if I quickly just, oh, sorry, we had jumped over that. Let me go back to thaumatropic roots. So if we look at just the things that it would recommend changing, you can narrow down what kind of decisions you have to make right now. So this is saying bringer of dust. This one it thinks should be removed from negatives, saying, hey, you should actually let this one stay as a possible target. It does overlap closely enough that it's worth keeping. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that because I think it's right. That's probably worth keeping. Fantasy adventure, again, it looks like it's probably worth keeping. Historical dark fantasy fits well. Borderline for Guardian League, but it's okay for the thaumatropic roots. And just to show you how this works, I can click this rescore and it's going to go use an Anthropic API to evaluate my book compared to the thing that it's looking at. That's where this information was coming from. So it's going back and asking that question again. And again, it's telling me pretty much the same thing. Remove it from negatives because it's got a strong core readership. It's pretty close to the decision and text that it made before. So I'm not going to save that because it's pretty much the same. And then keywords to add or remove. It's saying previous choice was to add this to negatives. All right, so right now I'm just getting essentially an ASIN number. So I either have to go look that up or I plan to enhance it to go do that for me and spit out the actual book title, which will make things a little more clear. So these things are all saying to add to negatives, and the previous choice was also add to negatives, which means probably something just failed when I was trying to submit it and I should try it again. So when you get to that point, you tell it to do a dry run and it goes through and sees how many things it's actually going to change. It's been, I don't know, a week since I've done anything with thaumatropic roots. So the algorithm I've used has changed some and probably there's some new data that's come in. So it doesn't surprise me that I've got some stale pieces here. All right, so then it goes through and shows me sort of a log of what it would change, and then I can turn dry run off and hit apply. But before I do that, I am going to go back and look at all data and decide if some of my past decisions were good or bad. So I'm not going to make you sit and wait while I do that, but I'm going to go through that. Okay, so I went back through the list and now I'm applying the set of changes that I decided on. It's making those actual changes and then it's telling you you need to reanalyze to refresh the data before you can review any more changes. So that means you got to jump back up to the top, rerun your analysis. This is where it goes and it queries things from the Amazon reports. It does take a while. I mean, shortest time is a couple minutes, but I've had it take 30 minutes. So that's basically it. I'll go back through it after I get the new numbers and just make sure everything changed the way I wanted it to change. All right. Thanks, everyone.